everyone. Myself, Dr. Krishnamurthy, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Chemistry, JSS Arts, Science and Commerce College, Gokak, which is affiliated to Rani Channamma University, Belagavi. Today we'll discuss about the chapter Electronic Spectrum. This comes in BSc 6th semester paper 1. So this is the first session regarding this chapter Electronic Spectrum. So as we know, electromagnetic spectrum. So electromagnetic spectrum nothing but it is a series of electromagnetic radiation. There is gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, visible, infrared, microwave, radio waves. These electromagnetic radiations, they are arranged in the order of their wavelength and also in their frequency. They are collectively called electromagnetic spectrum. So we are concentrating UV and visible region, that is electronic spectrum. So now what is electronic spectrum? So the spectrum which arises due to transition of electrons from one energy level to another by absorption of radiation falling in the UV and visible region of electromagnetic spectrum is known as electronic spectrum. So this is very simple definition. So electronic spectrum nothing but an electron which absorbs radiation from UV and visible region, it excited from one energy level to another, that is lower energy level to higher energy level, that is ground state to excited state. The obtained electromagnetic spectrum is known as electronic spectrum. So ultraviolet spectroscopy is also called electronic spectroscopy because it involves the excitation of electrons, that is sigma electrons, pi electrons and a non-bonded pair of electrons in the molecules by absorbing the radiations. Therefore, UV spectroscopy is also called electronic spectroscopy. The wavelength range of UV radiations is 180 to 400 nanometer, whereas visible radiations is the range 400 to 800 nanometer. So UV spectroscopy, that is electronic spectroscopy, is very useful to measure the number of conjugated double bonds, and it is very useful to aromatic conjugation to find out the aromatic conjugation within the molecules and distinguish between conjugated and non-conjugated systems. And it is useful to distinguish between homonuclear and heteronuclear conjugated dienes. Then it is useful to distinguish between alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds from other unsaturated carbonyl compounds. So distinguish between alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds from the other unsaturated carbonyl compounds. And also it is very useful to provide a very useful qualitative tool for identifying molecules and determine the energy levels in molecules. So as we know, the study of electronic spectra involves the transition of electrons between electronic energy levels. So transition of electrons between electronic energy levels. These transitions involve high change of energy. So the electromagnetic radiations of visible and ultraviolet region are required. So generally electronic transitions are complex. So electronic transitions are complex because this transition between two electronic states is accompanied by simultaneous transition between the vibrational and rotational energy levels as well. So this is nothing but electronic transitions are complex because the electronic transition involves vibrational and rotational energy levels also, because electronic excitation that requires more energy when compared to vibrational and rotational energy levels. So this is expressed by saying that electronic spectra have vibrational fine structure and also the rotational fine structure. This complexity This complexity of an electronic spectra can be explained on the basis of Born-Oppenheimer approximation. So next, this is the energy level diagram. So in this, there are two electronic states. So this is one electron, this is electronic ground state, and this is electronic excited state. And here we observed a big arrow mark. This big arrow mark represents electronic transitions. This shows electronic transitions require more energy. This shows electronic transition requires more energy. Therefore, the energy difference between electronic level is also more. So here in between two electronic energy levels, the two electronic transitions, so there is the electronic energy levels are separated by vibrational energy levels. Vibrational energy levels, they are represented V0, V1, V2, V3, V4 like that. So each electronic state is associated with a series of vibrational energy levels V. So the spacing between the vibrational energy level is still less. So that is when compared to electronic energy level, vibrational energy level is less. Then again, each vibrational energy level is associated with a rotational energy levels, that is J. Here each vibrational energy level is associated with a small lines. These are rotational energy levels. So electronic energy level accompanied by both vibrational energy levels and also the rotational energy levels. If you supply energy for electronic transition to happen, it is also accompanied by the vibrational and also the rotational transition, because energy required for vibrational and also the rotational transitions are less when compared to the electronic energy transitions. So next, very important, Born-Oppenheimer approximation. So when an electronic transition takes place, there are large number of changes in vibrational levels give rise to a band. In each of these bands, again many lines due to rotational transition. So as we know in the previous slide, so electronic transition involves vibrational transitions. Vibration transitions involves rotational transitions. Hence, the whole vibrational rotational spectrum is superimposed on the electronic spectrum, and this process produces a band system. According to Born-Oppenheimer approximation, the total energy of the molecule is given by total that is electronic energy, electronic transition E electronic plus E vibrational plus E rotational plus E translational. So total energy of the molecule is the sum of the electronic, vibrational, rotational and translational energy levels. It is assumed that various types of energy associated with different motions of the molecule are independent of one another. The translational energy is not quantized, whereas all the energies are quantized. So among electronic, vibrational, rotational, translational energy is not quantized when compared to other energies. It means that a molecule can exist only in certain discrete electronic, vibrational and rotational energy states. except translational. The separation between electronic energy levels is usually much larger than those between vibrational energy levels, which in turn are much larger than those between rotational energy level. That means electronic energy levels are more larger when compared to vibrational energy levels. Vibrational energy levels are larger more when compared to rotational energy levels. This simplification rather referred to as the Born-Oppenheimer approximation. This is very important to the point of examination also. Born-Oppenheimer approximation gives the information that is electronic energy level is larger than vibrational energy levels, which is larger than rotational energy level. So this is larger than translational energy level. But in this case, the translational energy is negligibly very small, because as we know, translation energy is not quantized, whereas all the energies are quantized. Therefore, this translation energy is negligibly small. So then the Born-Oppenheimer approximation can be written as, so this is important. So total energy of the molecule is equal to the electronic energy level plus vibrational energy level plus rotational energy level. So this is the Born-Oppenheimer approximation equation. So next, potential energy curve. So this is also very important. Potential energy curve. So what is the meaning of potential energy curve? So it is a curve of potential energy along y-axis. So it is a curve potential energy along y-axis and the internuclear distance or the internuclear separation along x-axis. Here we observed there are two curves, two colors. One is a green curve, another one is a blue curve. Here the green curve represents the harmonic oscillator curve, and the blue curve is the Morse potential curve. So here we discussing about the Morse potential curve. In this Morse potential curve is because of two types of interaction. So in the Morse potential curve, because there are two types of interactions, that is attractive as well as repulsive interaction. So in this this line represents the attractive interaction, whereas this line represents the repulsive interaction. Then in this curve, the potential energy curve have horizontal lines, that is the vibrational energy levels occupied by the system are represented by the horizontal lines, and they are indicated by appropriate vibrational quantum numbers, that is V0, V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, like that. So if the sufficient energy is supplied, what happens? Internuclear distance between the atoms increases. So if sufficient energy is supplied to the molecule, the internuclear distance, this is internuclear distance, this is increases. So internuclear distance between the atoms increases, and the bond between the atoms finally dissociate. This point is known as bond dissociation energy, that is represented as VE. The corresponding internuclear distance will become infinity. However, this usually does not happen, because before the stage is reached, the electron jumps to higher energy level from the lower energy level, from ground state to excited state. That means the electronic transition takes place. So here the dissociation takes place only when the molecule is in the higher energy level. So this is about the basic things about the potential energy curve. So next, the review of molecular orbital theory. According to this theory, molecular orbitals are formed by the combination of atomic orbitals of comparable energy and proper symmetry. So molecular orbitals are formed by the combination of atomic orbitals. Next, an electron in an atomic orbital is under the influence of only one nucleus, while in a molecular orbital it is under the influence of two or more nuclei, because molecules are formed by two or more atoms depending upon the number of atoms in the molecule. Next point, thus an atomic orbital is monocentric while a molecular orbital is polycentric because it is influenced by two or more nuclei. Therefore, molecular orbital is polycentric whereas atomic orbital is monocentric. Next, the number of molecular orbitals formed is equal to the number of combining atomic orbitals. When two atomic orbitals combine, two molecular orbitals are formed. So one is called bonding molecular orbital and the other one is called anti-bonding molecular orbital. Next, the bonding molecular orbital has greater stability when compared to anti-bonding molecular orbital. So as bonding molecular orbital has lower energy than anti-bonding molecular orbital. The molecular orbitals are filled in the same way as atomic orbitals are filled according to the principle, Haber principle, obeying the Pauli's exclusion principle, and also it follows the Hund's rule. So the bonding molecular orbital, it is represented by sigma is equal to psi a plus psi b. Antibonding molecular orbital, that is sigma star, is equal to psi a minus psi b. Here psi a and psi b are wave functions representing atomic orbitals of atoms A and B respectively. So here we observed energy level diagram. So in this is the atomic orbitals and these are molecular orbitals. So in the molecular orbitals, so this is molecular orbitals, this is atomic orbitals. The molecular orbitals are formed by the combination of atomic orbitals. So molecular orbitals are formed by the combination of atomic orbitals. Here for example, hydrogen molecule is formed by the combination of two hydrogen atoms. So hydrogen molecule is formed, that is molecular orbital is formed by combining two atoms or two atomic orbitals. The number of molecular orbitals formed is equal to the number of combining atomic orbitals. So here two molecular orbitals are formed by combining two atomic orbitals. So the number of molecular orbitals formed is equal to the number of combining atomic orbitals. When two atomic orbitals combine, here two atomic orbitals combine by two combination of two atomic orbitals. Here the molecular orbitals among the two, so one is called bonding molecular orbital and the other one is anti-bonding molecular orbital. So the bonding molecular orbital has lower energy level and it has a greater stability, ground state, whereas this is anti-bonding molecular orbital has higher energy level, that is excited state, and it has lower energy, that is a bonding molecular orbital has lower energy than atomic orbitals. Bonding molecular orbital has lower energy, so then when compared to atomic orbital, bonding molecular orbital has lower energy. than atomic orbitals. That is sigma is equal to psi a plus psi b. Whereas antibonding molecular orbitals are higher energy than atomic orbitals. So when compared to atomic orbital, antibonding molecular orbital has higher energy. So this is a energy level diagram. So in this session we learned about the electronic spectrum, then Born-Oppenheimer approximation, then potential energy curve, then review of molecular orbital theory, and the energy level diagram. Thank you.